Brenda, I don't know how you do this every day with the heat. It's hot here in Portland. It's now over 100. We are doing great. Despite that, we're just sitting under the AC, and holy cow, it's hot outside. Though you walk outside, it takes your breath away. Oh, yeah. And it's going to get hotter from what we hear. Holy moly. There's Janet. Hi, Janet. Welcome. Well, today we're going to do some beautiful butterflies. Let's take a look at what we're going to do. Let's start over here. This one says, wishing you the happiest of birthdays. Pretty. Hi, Mary T. Hi, Annette. Betty. Okay, I said hi to Betty before, but you can never be too friendly. There is our absolutely gorgeous heart background. I'm going to make this one. If I'd been thinking, I'd have saved this one for next week and shown you one of the new kits, because my new kits are going to take longer. The new one I'll show you today for show and tell has 6 cards. So we have a 6 and a 7 coming up. Oh. All right, let's see. Let's go ahead and move these samples, and we will take a look at our kit for today. Anybody out there working long today? Hope you guys have noticed I'm kind of staying ahead of you now so that you can get your kits on time. That's been a goal, and I'm working hard at it, and we seem to be being successful. Save these foam squares since I have another sheet right here that I already have going. All right. You're going to get these 2 beautiful die cuts in your kit. These are the ones that we have on your extra value today. Unbelievably great deal in that extreme value kit. These are 60% off suggested retail. You'll notice that this still has a few little weedings left to do in it. I cut them, but I didn't take the time to weed everything. I figured that 25 of us could weed these faster than one could. I made 25 kits. And everybody could weed these faster than I could weed them for everybody. So we will need to probably pop out just a few extra little pieces as we go. That's no big deal. So we have these. They're beautiful. And be sure you grab that extra value, because I'm using it a lot in the next set of cards, and I think that's going to probably sell out our extra value or extreme value when I show you what else I'm doing with it. Hi, Thelma. Welcome, friend. You have a little packet of jewels. We have some adorable scoreable. This comes from the Animal Kingdom collection. The collection has a beautiful assortment of the adorable scoreable pack has a beautiful assortment of adorable scoreable that is printed to match the things in our kit, and I'm making really good use of that this time. So almost every week we are using 1 or more pieces out of that. We've got some, these are kind of pearlescent yellow. They're beautiful, but I'm just using them as basic cards, and we'll probably cover up the pearlescence. I know that's kind of a shame, but it's what I'm doing. We have some 7x7 mirror board, a couple of sheets of that, I believe here. Yeah, a couple of sheets of 7x7 mirror board. We've got a couple of sheets, nope, just one sheet of 6x6, an A6 mirror board. We've got envelopes for all of our cards. We've got a 6x6 card. We've got thought that was 2, but it's 1 A6 card. And then we've got our actual kit. Okay, good to see everybody out there. Thanks for stopping in. Okay. Who came in, Donna?
Thelma.
Thelma. I said I did Thelma, didn't I? I think I did. Hi, Thelma. Welcome. Hi, Mary R. And I'm going to die cut my Mary before I put it on my cards using the dies featured in this kit. Excellent. Here is our set. This one today is called All My Love. And it's got this beautiful piece of gold foiled and die cut cardstock. We've got this very, very pretty corner piece. And we've got this very pretty bordered sheet. We're going to make good use of all of that. So let's go ahead and pick out what we're going to start with. Let's go ahead, since I have this one right on top, and this is right on top. Let's go ahead and start with this one. Excuse me. You're going to need this piece of cardstock. Hi, Sharma. Welcome, friend. We're going to need your A6 mirror board. You're going to need one of your A6 card blanks. And this can all sit up here for now. You'll need your foam squares. And I think that's it. Okay, let's go ahead and get started here. Your picture, we printed it at Walgreens last night, and your picture and your order are on the way, Mary R. It's a cute picture you haven't seen before. Hi, Mary T. Welcome, friend. I think you guys up in the Washington area aren't quite as hot as we are yet then, because we're over 100 already. Hi, Megan. Welcome. Good to see you here today. Okay. So I'm running my 3 pieces of tape on my card. I happen to be using the craft style tape right now. I'm really liking that craft style tape. It's one reason that I included a hello, Mary T. That's one reason that I included 1 roll of each of those in the ultimate Craftaganza bundle this time. So you guys who hadn't tried that tape before could try that. It's really good. I like it a lot. Okay, I'm just going to put my mirror board down on top of that exposed tape. I'm going to flip this over. Hi, Mary Clausen. Welcome, friend. Whoops. Okay. So we got Mary R, Mary T, and Mary G today. Welcome, guys. All right. I'm just going to, I must have been cutting adhesive with my scissors. I've got them sticky. Gonna have to clean them. But I can probably get through without doing it. I could switch if I need to. I got another cheap pair of scissors here. Okay, I have covered my mirror board. Now I'm going to cut this topper down to size. And what I'm going to do here, guys, is I'm going to trim about probably 1/8 of an inch above this line so that I get both those pretty borders in here. So I'm going to start there, and then I'll trim that card down to size. But I want to make sure that I get that pretty border in here first. So that looks pretty good. I can come a little bit more. Probably cut that a little closer than I did last time. I did. Darn me. Okay. All right. I'm going to cut this to, then I'm going to cut my width to 3 7/8. So I end up having that pretty border on both sides of my card. And I'm going to trim this then, since I know that my European A6 are 5 7/8 inch long. I'm going to cut this to 5 5/8 long. Let's see how that fits. Looks like I've got a little bit of an extra border on the side, so I'm going to cut my top just a little bit more, just so it matches. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, that's pretty good. That looks pretty good. So we'll go ahead and we'll tape this on. I'm going to use my tape flags. So I'll flip this over. Okay. All right. I'm going to expose just about an inch of my adhesive at the top. Hi, Elsie. Welcome, friend. Hi, Adeline. Thanks for dropping in, friend. Okay, I'm going to center this on my card. Once I got it right where I want it, I'll kind of tack that adhesive a little bit at the top, then hold my card in place with my other hand and peel those tapes out. And I get a nicely centered piece on my card. Excellent. Okay, out of our topper sheet, I forgot to pull the little button topper. And we want the one that says, "With all my love." Pull that out. We're going to put some foam on the back and put that right here at the top of our card. I'll just get a few little foam squares here. Okay. All right. We got your black foam tape in there too. Like I said, I don't love that tape. It's, you know, if you really want some black tape, it's useful. It's just stickier than I like, so. Okay, there we go. I'm going to stickles these all at one time at the end, so I don't have a bunch of delicate cards to deal with. Otherwise, I'll be throwing stuff on top of them as we work. It sounds like I know myself. So card number 1 is done for now till we put some stickles on it. Let's get busy and we'll get card number 2 out here. This one's using the other side of our, another piece of our cardstock. So we're going to go ahead and get that out. And we're going to need a 5 by 7 card. I'm going to grab one of these pretty pearly ones. I'm going to grab a piece of my 5 by 7 paper. Good. I'm going to need the "Wishing You a Day as Wonderful as You Are" tag. I'm also going to need this border piece, so I'll trim that off. With those borders, you can't just punch these out. You have to snip them at the ends. So I'm snipping those out. In one of my upcoming card kits, I'm going to actually be using one of these trim off pieces. I always advocate you hold on to those trim off pieces until you're finished, because you never know when one of those edge pieces with its foiling is going to be useful, just the piece you need to finish things off, even though it's normally considered to be scrap. So I'm gonna, yeah. Okay, can you roll up, honey? The dies are beautiful, guys. I'm glad you guys are getting them, because it's going to be a sellout on those dies. I'm using them again coming up. And this one, I'm going to use it 3 different ways in one set. So you are not going to believe how versatile this die is. You know, when you just look at the 2 of them, this is my favorite because it's so delicate and so very, very pretty. But this one is so versatile, you're just not going to believe how versatile it is. Okay, I'm going to cover this beautiful pearly cardstock. I know that just seems sinful, but they're the cards I had available, and we're still waiting on the craft style 5x7s to come in. So I just said, well, let's go ahead and use up some of that. And so I'm covering my beautiful pearly card. If you want to use a different piece of 5x7 out of your stash and save these are really beautiful cards. But like I said, it's what I had available to build a kit, so that's what I used. But if you have plain ones, you might trade them out, because you can make some pretty things using this background. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put my Mirri on here. If I remember right, yep, I did remember right. These cards are just a hint over 7 inches, so I'm going to need to trim this down just a little bit, just because the cards are just a little bit extra. See that? You can see it there on the dark background. It's just a little bit lighter than the cards, so we'll just trim that down. Now I'm going to trim off this extra piece. Okay. For some reason, I'm really noticing my fingerprints today. I get my little micro cloth out here and wipe my prints off as I go. All right, now I'm going to cut this one this way. So I'm going to start with looking to see where 5 inches puts me on my pattern. I think I'm going to be okay. Just want to make sure that 5 inches, that I'm not going to have to trim some off the bottom in order to make my 5 inches work, and that appears to be fine. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to actually make this 4 3/4. So that's still going to be okay. 4 3/4. It gives me room to clear my butterfly, which is what I wanted to know. And I'm going to go ahead and cut that down to 7 inches. I have 7 inches marked on my paper cutter here, so that I can know how far over without having to trim 7 inches all the way down on my paper. You want to keep this piece in one piece if you can, so don't cut all the way across. Keep this piece in one panel, because we're going to use that on this card. Okay, Hello, Catherine. Welcome. Okay, now this one needs to be 6 3/4. So I'm going to come in right there. So I've got 6 3/4 by 4 3/4 for this panel. There we go. And that looks great. Set that back aside for a minute. And okay, next we're going to, I think we'll go ahead and put this border piece down before we attach it, because I want this border to be the width of my card, and it's just easier to do that before it's attached down. So I'm going to go ahead, use my thinner tape. This is a really beautiful set. Catherine, you'll like it if you decide to pick this one up from your local craft store. Oh, come on. Drop my tape on my border. Fortunately, it didn't have a chance to stick down tight. Stop. I'm winding my tape here. Okay. All right. I'm going to bring this over a little further than I did the first one. I was a little annoyed by myself that I kind of got crowded on the edge of my first one. So let me tell you how far I'm going to come in this time. From the edge, I'm coming in about, let's make it 2 inches is probably a little more than I need. Let's bring it in 1 3/4 inches from the edge, roughly. Okay, expose my adhesive on this strip. And let's come into about here, which will give me a nicer border there. Trim this off. Okay. Now I'm going to take this piece here and I'm going to make myself a piece off of this. I want my finished piece to be about 2 3/4 by 2 1/4. So what I'm going to do is get my detail scissors out here. One of your detail scissors. And I'm going to pick out where I'm going to work. And I'm going to actually trim back and forth so I maintain the kind of grid shape there. Rather than cutting through, I'm going to kind of retain that grid shape. So I know I want 2 1/4. I'll start, I think, actually what I need to start with, excuse me, is getting all these little pokies out. So let's get those out of here. They should pop out really, really easy because these dies really cut nice and cleanly. Shouldn't have any trouble. If you were to have trouble taking the pieces out because maybe your machine didn't cut quite as deep, or maybe you got one that I didn't die cut as thoroughly. Hopefully they're all die cut well. I think they are, but just in case, with mirror board, you might find that there is a white coating on the back of your mirror board. If you push it through and you have any little hanger-oners in the back, you can peel that white paper off, usually without messing up your mirror board at all. I'd like to show you that, but mine is cut really, really cleanly, and there isn't going to be any extra paper hanging onto the back of it. But if it is, you can just peel that white paper off and not affect the front of your mirror board at all, or the integrity of your mirror board. You can just peel that back a little bit and be just fine. And that will pop out the extra pieces if you have any. One more. Yeah, that looks like I got them all. That's so pretty. Okay, so back to this. I want to cut this so that it's going to be 2 1/4 wide. So I'm going to go to, I think if anything, I want it to be wider. So I'm going to go to this row right here, and I'm going to start just going back and forth, kind of following that grid. You can use this background so many ways. You're just not going to believe how many ways. This might be a little extra wide. We'll see whether I like it or want to take one more row off. Hi, Kathy girl. How you doing? It's actually Kathy Girly Girl, but I always call you Kathy Girl. Okay. And this, on these far corners, have an extra little box there. I'm going to take that little extra box off. Okay, let's see what I think of that. In the middle, that's actually going to look really good. Oh, it's perfect width, actually. Huh, good. Just what I wanted. Okay, now I'm going to come down here, and before I used 2 3/4, I'll just kind of get my eye on a line I want to follow. I think I'll go here. Excuse me. Okay. All right. And I have found another little pokey. Needs to come out. And I'm going to take this extra piece off the end. And that's going to be just the right size, I think. So I'm going to use I could glue that with my with my little glue tip. Or if you have it, you can flip this over. I just saw that. Oh, there it is. You can flip this over, and I'm going to use one of these large nib Nouveau glue pens. I'm going to put it down on my piece of paper towel to catch all the extra glue. And I'm going to tap through here. I lifted it there. I'm going to move it down so I don't get any of that sticky that went through. You know, this is good sticky stuff because it's hanging onto my finger so well. Okay, and I'm going to position this kind of centered, somewhat centered over that Maybe come, I think centered is good. Somewhat centered over that bar I brought down. And then I'm going to put this one in the middle of that. That's going to look terrific. Put some foam squares on the back of there. I'll get some nice foam squares on here. Hold this up tall and proud. And pop the little squares off of here. And isn't this a really, really nice way to fill up all that void space there? Isn't that pretty? Love that. I'm going to go ahead and put some tape on the back of here, some tape flags. Okay, we'll peel this tape back a little bit, expose just an inch or so of our adhesive. And pop this onto our card. About 1/4 of an inch all the way around, or a little less. Oops. That's looking pretty, I've got to move that a little bit. Somehow I always find it easier to match these from the long end, looking up the long end of my card. There we go. That's pretty good. Okay, number 2. That does turn out pretty, guys. That's number 2. We'll put some stickles on last. All right. We've got this one here. We might as well use this other piece of cardstock while we're at it. This is why we didn't cut all the way through this one. I'm now going to cut that to 4 3/4 wide. By 6 3/4 long. This might be just a little extra long. I've got kind of a gap there in my cutter, so I want to make sure that it's long enough before I cut off any extra. Let's get another of our 5x7 cards on our 7x7 mirror board. I wish they'd make a 5x7 mirror board, Hunkydory. It'd be really useful to have a 5x7 Mirri Mat, so you didn't have to trim off on the 7x7 all the time. I use the extra scraps, but it just would be nice not to have all those extra scraps. Okay, let's go ahead and cover our card. I usually put down 3 rows of tape. There's nothing magical about that. I've just found it to be plenty to hold everything in place. I always want my bottom layer to be down nice and tight. A town with one stoplight, huh, Kathy girl? Are you welcome and come again signs in your town back to back then? My hometown was sort of like that. It's grown up a little bit. Other than tornado chasers, I'm not sure anybody's a fan of tornadoes, Betty Goswell. Okay, I've got just that little bit of extra that needs to be trimmed down again, so I'm going to take that off. Leave my card nice and even. And we'll trim. Oh, I'm having so much trouble with that hair falling in my face today.
Snip, snip.
Snip, snip. Bryce says snip, snip. I'm really thinking about going in and getting my hair both cut and colored. I know I'm not going to put any natural color though, guys. I'm going to put some kind of wild color on it. It's been a while, and I'm too young to be as gray as I am, so I think I should go and do something kind of wild with my hair. Just kind of funny because I wouldn't let my kids do anything wild with their hair when they were younger, but it will involve purple. Yes, it will, Brenda. I've been thinking of kind of an ombre look in purple. Start with lavender, then darker lavender, then violet at the bottom. But I got to find some place that can do it well, because that's a lot of coloring and a lot of layers of color. I don't want to ruin my hair while I'm at it, but I'm really thinking seriously on doing that again. Those of you who've been watching my videos for a while know that I used to have purple at the bottom of my hair. Now I'm thinking about going all in. Yes, I did. You watch and see if I don't do it, Thelma. It could happen. Going to, what did she say? Going to shorter, not much shorter, probably just an inch or two off to get rid of all the dead ends. What my thought is that then as it grows out, it's silver on top. I'll have silver, then lavender, then darker lavender. Eventually the dark gets pulled off, but I'll just have light lavender tips. That's my thing. That's my thought anyways. We'll see.
Sharma wants turquoise stripes.
Turquoise stripes would be pretty. When I had the tips done earlier, I had a stripe right here and I had a stripe in the back. Just 2 stripes of purple all the way through, but it did add kind of interest to the hair color. Okay, we're going to use this. Whoops, wrong topper. Let's get the right one. We're going to use this darker purple rose here. So you guys won't be surprised when one of these days you tune in and you see me with lavender and purple hair. It'll happen. Hopefully I won't scare you all off. I'll still be the same crazy person. I'll just be a crazy person with purple hair. All right.
They still just blue with purple would look cool.
Blue with purple would look really nice. It would. I do love those colors together. Okay.
Catherine says a few drops of food coloring works and washes out. Attracts wasps.
Oh. Yeah, wasps I can do without. Okay, I'm going to get my foam squares out here. I'm going to foam square up the outer ring, and I'm going to recess the roses in the center, kind of give it a window sort of vibe. The foiling on this topper is just really, really beautiful. They've done quite a beautiful job with the foiling in this whole kit. Of course, they are known for doing a great job with foiling. Well, you do have a point there, Mary R. If it's going to be really hot this summer, and indications are it might be, I may be wishing I had trimmed a super heavy duty mop of hair much shorter. But I can always cut it off later if I want to. Okay. I'm going to kind of center this, maybe just come a little bit extra towards the bottom since I'm going to put this circle up at the top. I'm going to glue this topper into the center. Just add a little glue here. You guys should have seen Teddy earlier. Bryce went out to water the plants earlier this morning, and Ted could not stand that the hose was running and he was not in it. So Bryce went out in the backyard to water the plants there, and Teddy runs at, bites at the water when it's coming out of the hose. He just gets soaked, but he's such a happy puppy. I got to catch some video of that sometime. I need to go out when Bryce is watering plants and catch that because he's adorable. Okay, we will put our stickles on it later, but there we go. There's our new rose card done. That's 3 out of 5 we're done with already. All right. Next, let's do this one. We're going to get our last of our 5x7 cards. This one I did not use a piece of mirror board behind. We're going to get our remainder piece of this cardstock. And I'm putting this pretty border at the bottom. So I'm going to put down some tape for you. Once again, my 3 rows of tape. Nothing magical about that, just holds well. Thank you, Elsie, for the reminder. Thank you, Kathy girl. Okay. I'm covering my card, so I am just trimming around my cardstock now. As you know, I don't like to cut my topper in advance. I like to lay my whole paper down and cut around my card. It's much faster and more accurate than trying to match 4 sides at one time. We have that little piece of border we saved earlier. We're going to go ahead and put that piece of border right here across the bottom. Get a little extra foiling there on the bottom. I'm going to get that. Going to get that narrower tape back out for that. I don't know why I'm shaky today. I'm shaky today. I did eat before I came in, just shaky. I slept really a long time though, so maybe it's just the extra sleep. My body's saying, what are you doing to me? Okay, that's making good use of our supplies. We only have less than an inch of our border left. Okay, now we're going to want that topper I popped out earlier. And just, let's see, just for interest. Oh, this is a 3-level one, so we're going to pop this out. One of these would be pretty as a shaker. This would be beautiful as a shaker card. I'm going to take this second layer out. One thing you always want to look at when you're doing this is decide whether or not you want that center ring. Sometimes it can be pretty just to let your background come through too.
Good night to Catherine. It's now midnight.
Good night, Catherine. Sleep well, friend. Okay. So you can do it. Can you zero in a little bit? Zoom in a little. So this looks pretty too, just to leave that ring completely out. Or you can get that extra gold in there by gluing this ring down and have the extra Mirri. I think I'm going to go ahead and put it back in because I think I really prefer that nice heavy gold in there, but you can do it either way. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put some foam squares on the back of this one. In terms of putting these 3 layers in, I find it easiest to position the outside layer first. And then position the pieces inside it, then to start with the inside and work out. Because if you start with the inside and work out, you may end up in a different position than you wanted to be. So I usually start with the outside so I can position where it fits on my card and then work my way to the inside, if that makes some sense. That has been learned by trial and error. Okay.
Several say they like the extra gold too.
Yeah, I definitely like the extra gold, but it's nice to know you have the choice of whether to use them or not. You always have the choice of your pieces. You know what I didn't think of? I wonder what it would look like. No, don't like it. Never mind. Wouldn't show enough. Okay. All right. So we'll go ahead. I'm actually coming to the left and the upper with this, just maybe down 3/8 of an inch and in 1/4 inch. The 3/8 down gives me about 3/8 from the bottom and 3/8 from the top. Coming in 1/4 of an inch will leave me room to put this tag on, and still have a nice sense of balance. See what I mean? I'm coming to the left and then I'm putting my tag on, You can read the tag and you can see what's underneath, but it kind of creates a sense of balance in the card by having that hang over the right-hand side. I'm going to glue my ring in. I just kind of follow the insides with my glue bottle and then pop this in place. There we go. And that looks good. Now I'm going to put some foam squares on this one. It's really nice of our international friends just to pop in to say hi, isn't it? I like that a lot. It's nice of, because we've got quite a few international friends who've been visiting lately. We have Catherine and Elsie. Elsie, I believe, is UK. Catherine is France. And then we have somebody from Spain who's been in a time or two, and Australia. So I like that. I think that's fun that they're dropping in to visit and say hi. Excuse me? Oh, of course, Canada. But Canada's, you know, that feels a lot like home. Oh, Elsie's in Norway. Oops, I'm sorry, Elsie. I'm misrepresenting your country. I apologize. I don't know if I ever told you, Elsie, that my grandpa was Norwegian. It was fun. He actually wasn't my grandpa by blood, but by marriage. But, you know, when you're raised with them, they're your grandpa. But we used to, he'd tell us all kinds of stories, and we had a lot of fun. And I got to meet some of his relatives from Norway. Nice, nice people came over to visit. Okay, I'm putting foam squares on this edge, and then I'm going to put a little bit of glue here where I'm putting my tag down. I could make this too high, but I'd have to make, if I put foam squares on this, then I have to add another layer of foam squares here in order to have that tag sit down right. I'm going to put a little bit of glue here. I'll put some glue here on my edge, and then I'm going to put this right down here so it'll lay nice. And there we go. There's our next one done. We only have one left to go. Then we'll stickles. Let's get, we are out of background card, or we have just a little bit. I could have made something out of this, but I opted instead to go for the bigger look and use this background piece. So I need to start by popping things out of my background. It's easy to tell where you have things to pop out if you just look at this from the back. Then you can see the little etch marks around them to know that you have pop out pieces there. And I do have a fair number of pop outs to go. Look at these little hearts that come out of here. It's a perfectly shaped little heart coming out of there. And oops, I put it where you couldn't see it. Perfect little hearts popping out of there that you can use for something. I have quite a few little pieces to come out of the flowers yet. So when you get these, it'll take you just a few minutes to do all the little weeding, but it'll take you a whole lot less time than it would have took me to weed all of them. So I'm sharing the effort with you. You're welcome. Okay. All right. Teddy in here, honey?
Yeah.
I'll let you do Teddy Cam today while I step away for a minute. I'll do Teddy Cam as soon as I finish this card. Or maybe before. We'll see. Here's another pop-out piece. Okay, we're done. I'm going to cover my card, my 6x6 card, with my 6x6 Mirri. The 6x6 Mirri is made just a little extra large to allow you some positioning room, which I appreciate always. Can you slide down a little bit? Margie's feeling pretty good. I talked to her on Thursday. Did I talk to her yesterday? No, I did not talk to her yesterday. She had been telling her mom, I'm going to go over and film the video on Thursday, and her mother said, no, you're not. They had a little dispute about it, and then Margie's mom, Glenda, won, and Margie stayed home, which was good because Margie overdoes stuff. So I want the mirror board to line up on my folded side, and then I can trim around the other sides. There we go. All right. Thanks for explaining that, Thelma. Let me show you what Thelma means. On this card, I have quite a bit of negative space down this side, so by hanging this tag over, not only am I creating a sense of balance on this side of the card, I'm kind of filling the void a little bit on the other side. Yes, I absolutely will show the Stickles bottles, and maybe Bryce can put a link in for you for Stickles. He's going to look right now, see if he can get your link to the Stickles Center embellishments, honey. Okay, now I'm going to cut this piece of card here down just a tad. So I have a 6x6 right now. I'm going to double check my measurement. Yes, it's exactly 6. I'm going to go to 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put this down. I'm going to put it on with some tape flags so I can get, excuse me, my margins all lined up. Yeah, it looks pretty good. So, no, it's too tight on the bottom. I'm going to come up a little bit. But by using my tape flags, I can reposition this without damaging anything, which is the real beauty of tape flags. Since my top margin was just a little too wide, my bottom margin was just a little too narrow. And this time I've got a angle to my side margin, so by those tape flags, I can just pop this loose and move it where I need to move it. For some reason, I'm having a hard time getting lined up today. So it's a good thing I'm using tape flags. Deborah, why are you having such trouble? I'm going to turn my card an angle and try this again. Sometimes just changing the orientation helps. And it did that time. Now I got it on there. I have a fairly narrow margin this time, so, but that helped me get it all nice and angled properly. You get a nice even angle all the way around. Now I'm going to take this piece, this beautiful piece that we just took all the extra pieces out of. I'm going to go ahead and bring my mat back in, also known as my paper towel. I amuse myself with these little names I give everything. When you use these Nouveau pens, you want to shake it every time you use it. It's got a little ball bearing in there to loosen everything up and make sure your adhesive is well mixed. I love this technique because it's so much faster than trying to glue all these tiny little pieces inside here. Flip this around, do the other side. This has lots of little curlicues in it, so be sure when you're gluing you catch all those little curlicues, because those will be the things that try to stand up and get in the way, or come loose from your background. So be sure you catch all those little curlicues. Know it's going to work to adhese down because it's stuck to my finger. You can back out a little bit now if you wanted to, honey. Just a little bit. And I know it's gluing well because paper came off with my finger. Okay. I'm going to set this down, try to kind of center this. Rub it down good. Sure all my little curlicues and everything get tacked good. I really got that paper glued to my finger, I'm telling you. This glue's non-toxic, so I'm safe doing that. Okay, we have these pretty good size jewels this time. I don't know about you. Sometimes I get these packs of jewels and you got the big ones in there. And you wonder, whatever am I going to do with one that size? Because on the wrong product or the wrong project, they can look kind of gaudy. But when you're using something this big, you can get away with them. So when I can, I like to use up the larger ones on projects where they'll really show and they will look great. Now there actually are two sizes of the big one, or of these jewels in here. They're only a slight difference, but there are different sizes. So put the largest one in the middle and the smaller ones on either side. Well, whoop, dropped it. Didn't get it in the glue, fortunately. Hello, Roberta. I got your package in the mail today. I got to try that black acetate and see what I can do with it. I want to see what you did with yours. Okay. Big one in the center. little ones on either side. Don't you and Teddy come do Teddy Cam, hon? I'm going to sneak away for just a minute. Oh, I'll be right back, guys. Bryce is going to take over momentarily.
Hello, everybody. Teddy smells like he's been hugging Grandpa. He smells like Grandpa cologne. Can you say hi? Can you sit? Can you sit a little bit? Or maybe come up a little bit. How's that? Maybe that's better. Is that better? Yeah? Yeah? I don't know. Does Mama have any treats over here that could tempt you? Yes. Treats are always a good temptation. Oh boy. 2 treats? I don't know. Teddy got a new harness today. He was so excited. I've never seen a dog excited to actually change his harness. I'm not sure why. But he literally, I took off his old one and picked up his new one, and he stuck his head right in it. Oh, you were silly. Yeah, you were silly, weren't you? Big old thing. We took Teddy yesterday on a bunch of errands, and he curled up in Dad's arms, pretty much just like this, and rode. I don't even know how many hours we were in the car running around town yesterday. And he was happy as a clam, just curled up in Grandpa's arms. So he had a good time. He was having so much fun just being with his family, because Debbie and Grandpa and I were all in the car together. He thought that was pretty cool. He just totally relaxed, was having a good time in the air-conditioned car, so that was good. It might have been the other one getting small for him. Although if he gains much more fur on this one's going to push. But he's getting his hair cut tomorrow. He gets to go see his friends at the groomers. And he'll get all nice and cool tomorrow afternoon. So that'll be great. He'll be happy about that. We'll have fun. Of course, then he'll be ready to go play in the water, which he might be ready. Actually, it was funny. We came out here to the shop. Where are you going, sir? Where are you going? We came out to the shop, and I opened the gate so he could go downstairs, and he just sat down in the shade and looked at me like, are you kidding? I'm not going out there. Yeah, you're not going out there. Are ya? Oh boy, you're giving him a nice face view. I think he's looking at himself in the television, Kathy. This dog watches more television than any dog I know. And it's interesting the things that obviously another dog will catch his attention, but his attention will be caught by a person, by all kinds of animals, cows, goats, whatever that shows up on television. And he's right there to talk about them, but he does like to watch himself.
Hi, buddy.
Yeah.
Hi.
Okay.
What's he doing?
Well, tell Mom to get back over here and finish her cards.
Thank you. Thank you, Teddy. Oh, did Daddy leave you in the table? Naughty Daddy. Naughty Daddy. Okay. That's a load off my mind. Now.
Am I?
Okay. Yes, he does watch TV with Grandpa. He absolutely does. And he is thoroughly entertained by lots of shows. He likes to watch anything with dogs. Of course, then he wants to run over and bark at the TV. Sometimes people will come on TV, and for some reason or another, he doesn't like that person, and he will go growl at the TV. Usually, I have to say, dogs are pretty good judges of character, and I tend to agree with the people he growls at. I won't share who they are because I'm not sure what your political persuasions are, but he did growl at certain political figures, probably because he senses that they're not people I'm fond of. I don't know why. But he does do it. Molly lives football. Loves football. Oh, that's funny. Teddy's never seen football because we're not big football people, but I'll bet he would like it because it's action-packed. Okay.
He doesn't like people fighting.
That's true. He doesn't like people fighting. He will also growl if somebody's being threatened on TV. He gets all agitated about that because he doesn't like people being harassed or threatened. So that is probably very true. Okay, let's see. We'll put some. We've got our 4. Oh, we're not back on regular. I'm working away here, and we are. There we go. We got our 4 gems on all the way around. So we used our 12 gems. And we're going to put our dragonflies in the middle. We'll put some foam squares up on under those. Mary said, that's okay, Teddy. We growled at him too.
And that says no John Wick for Teddy.
I know.
That's probably true.
Yeah, Teddy seems to be a pretty good judge of character, really. You have a jar of purple haze, and it was delivered. Oh, yes. Actually, I'm sorry I didn't say that, Roberta. It's here. I haven't tried it yet. Did you use that on the black? What are you predominantly using that for? I did see that come through, and I apologize. I've just been busy and haven't touched it yet. Okay, once we've put that up, we're going to do the same thing we did before on the sentiment. I'm going to bring the sentiment out to the right just for some interest, because otherwise everything is just too symmetrical on this card. So I'm going to break up the symmetry a little bit by putting this tag out to the side. The part that hangs off is going to get some foam squares, and the part that sits on the topper is going to get a little bit of glue. I want my foiling to show nicely around the edge, so I will put the foam squares on the end there, and then it's kind of interesting because the pattern on the end of this really matches the pattern in the flowers. So if you bring this over, you can actually match that up, and that's kind of cool looking, I think. Let me show you what I mean. You see that? See how the purple just blends with the purple flower? I'm always amused when things work out that way. Okay. Whew. This might be a ponytail day, guys. We got the air conditioner going in here, and I'm still getting really warm. Whew. It could be a ponytail or a pigtail day. Imagine me at 62 running around in pigtails. I do it. I do it. Get that neck cool. Okay, there we go. I think it's Stickles time. Let's do a little Stickles. On this one, I really wanted to accent the dragonflies. I thought the dragonflies were just beautiful. This is the Stickles bottle. I happen to be using Stardust, but any of the ones that are clear with glitter in them will be beautiful. Even some of the colored ones with glitter would be beautiful, but I like the colors in the card to show. So I use an awful lot of these ones that are just clear with the iridescence. Can you scroll down a little bit, please? Okay. Okay. All right. You said the Jamie powders did not show up, Rebecca? Don't show up. Okay. Roberta, I mean, that's what I meant to say. I was going to try those, but it sounds like those aren't going to work real well. I do have some alcohol inks. I'll try some of the ones that they talked about in that graphics tutorial. They used the pearlescent alcohol inks. I don't know if I have pearl ones, but I might have. I have a few different ones. Okay. Now let's see what that does for this to just put the stickles just on the dragonflies. Isn't that pretty? I love that. It just adds that extra something. Beautiful. So that's done. Set this over here to dry. And look at the one I did before. All right. These little things, you don't necessarily want to throw these out. I'll show you on the next card how you can use these little bits of extras. So these little extra pieces of this grid, hang on to those. I've got a couple cards in show and tell that will show how you can use those pieces. All right, let's get our next card out here. Last time I stickled the flowers. This time I'm going to stickle the butterflies. Why? Why not? That's what I say. Why not? I do a little bit of outline, do his body. I think I'll just outline his wings, see whether or not that's enough. If necessary, I can come back in and do the inside, but I might use a brush if I do that to brush it out a little bit so it's not so heavy. Doing the bodies and outlining the wings. No, I think that's probably just about enough. But you can always use a brush and kind of brush that out a little bit. Can you guys see the stickles that's showing on camera? Okay. Let's do the next. Oh, this is the one I did last time. I'll put that one away for now. Okay. I think I'll do the butterflies again here. Maybe I'll show you the flowers versus the butterflies so you can decide what you like better. I think they're both pretty. Just a matter of personal taste. But I do think there is an advantage to putting a little extra glitter on just for that added element. Okay, that's the one I did the flower. This time I'm going to do the butterflies. Now this is a big butterfly, so I can do a little bit more on this. That's actually fun. I'm going to do his body for sure. Come up around his wing. Let me come inside his wing a little bit. Inside the wing a little bit. Inside that wing. Ooh, that's pretty. I like that. It's funny, I sit here and talk about my work while I'm doing it here, but I do the same thing when I'm making it. Oh, that's pretty. I like that. I don't know. I think we better do that different next time. I sit here and talk to myself while I'm putting these together. You'd think I was crazy.
You are.
Bryce says I am. Quite quickly jumped on that.
What stickles are you using now? Like wants to know.
I have Stardust. I don't know if I have any of those left in the store. I'll get some more of those on order because I did notice we're getting a little down in stickles again. So I will get some more. The diamonds will work well. Any of the ones that are clear with glitter in them. That looks pretty, doesn't it? I did a little more stickles on the butterfly since I had such big butterflies to work with. Let's look at the difference between the two. Here's the one with the butterflies. Here's the one where I outlined the flowers. Both are pretty. I think I prefer the butterflies though, although I think both are pretty. I don't know. You guys tell me. We could stickles both of them if we wanted. Okay. This is the dry one. I'm sure I put the dry one on the bottom. Okay, we got one more to do here. Now, I did like the way this came out doing the buds and stuff too. See there? That was really pretty, but just for difference, I'm going to do the butterflies this time. I may decide I want to go back and do the buds too, because I did like the way that looked. It's kind of like a pink poppy, isn't it? Maybe I'll do the centers of the flowers also, because it's a really big flower. Maybe I'll do the center of the flower just for an added element. I always think, though, that with glitter, you generally, unless I'm getting snow effects, and snow effects is almost the more the better, but in everyday glittering, I tend to think that the less is more concept comes into play. So I don't tend to do an awful lot of stuff on my card. I just do a few elements, but that does look good with the center of the flower. Here's the flower bud and the buds and the poppy. And here's the one with stickles on the butterflies. I don't know which one's better here. You guys have an opinion? I do think it really adds a lot to these cards because the card designs here are really simple. That's the wet one. We'll put the wet one on top. Okay. Sounds like such an obvious thing, doesn't it? But I would probably mess it up if I weren't talking myself through it. Here's the rose. Stickles on the butterfly versus stickles on the rose. You probably get away with both, especially if you brushed it out just a little bit. So you don't have a heavy line, you have a lighter line. You could probably get away with both. I tend to agree. I like the butterflies, I think, better, although I think the roses would be really pretty brushed out a bit. The rose, that's the wet one. I really have to watch myself. I did the one with the jewels on it. I did those all the same, so I won't bother to show both of those because they're the same. Other than I might show the card one more time. Okay. I think this one that we did with this is similar to the other one in that the butterflies are kind of spread out. I'll put a little in the center of that flower again because that looked pretty. All right. Just said I'd show you the one with the jewels one more time. Let's look at that. And with everything we have happening in this one, I think a little bit on the dragonflies was just right. I'm not going to do any more to that one. Okay, I'll get some more stickles in, guys. I do know that our supply in the store is running a little bit thin, so I'll get some more of those in so you can get more stickles in the near future. Little pieces off my, gotta go way up with that one so I don't get stuff on it. Get rid of my foam tape toppers here. And some of this junk. Okay, let's take a look at our show and tell. I have 2 of them for you today. I'm excited about both. We got so many cards out of these.
I'm sure we saw Daria said hi.
Hi, Daria. Welcome. I'm not sure I said hi to Stephanie. Hi, Stephanie. In case I didn't say hi. All right. Let's see what we have coming up. I think I showed you this before. I'm not sure I did, but I believe I did. Let's look at these with the elephants and giraffes. And I'm sure I did actually. Here's Happy Birthday from the whole herd. Here is Age is Your Elephant. Have a huge birthday. Good night, Elsie. Here is another one done with with your die. It says you've earned your stripes. Well done. Here's one demonstrating using little pieces. These little pieces come out of these scraps. So save these. If you've got full diamonds, you can use these for accents, and really pretty accent, I think, especially on this one. It almost looks a little bit African. And this one says another year taller. Oops, I'm setting those down. I was trying to set them out so you could see them, and I was setting them right out of camera range. Now I'm setting them right under Debbie cam. Okay, this one says, we will always be stronger together. This one has velveteen paper, guys. Ooh, pretty. This one says, a group of zebra is known as a zeal. Doesn't that seem like a great name for our friendship? I wrote that, by the way. I just want credit for that because I think that's clever. And yes, it is. A group of zebra is called a zeal. And this is many happy returns. I have some other fun sentiments in the kit for you. Let's see if I can see some of them without digging it out. This one, another year taller, also says, I hope your birthday is full of big surprises, or you're ahead above the rest, or things must be looking up with the giraffe. I can't see the other ones. But there's lots of fun sentiments to choose from. And the handwritten sentiments, I think I have choices for you in most of them. So there's several zebra, in case you don't think my zeal is just the perfect sentiment for your card. I can't imagine it, but you might. There might be people who think that, honey. Oh, I didn't mention this one also has velveteen paper in behind it. So it's very, very tactile. You touch it and it's just like, ooh, that's a neat card. You think it's a neat card, then you pick it up and you say, wow, that's a neat card. So this is coming up. I think, I told you before it was going to be on Saturday. I do believe it is going to be on Thursday because these cards are not as involved as the ones I just made, which are these cards. There's 6 of them coming up next Saturday. And let's take a look. This is the little birds that was in the corner of the bear card. And I just love the little birds. This is on a soft, we covered the cardstock with a soft blue out of the Adorable Scoreable pack that matches the blue in this topper. It's just identical. And remember I said I was going to use a scrap off of the packaging? See right here? This is from the punch out sheet. That little bit, I wanted a little bit more foiling there. So I took one of the edges, I put the green against the green of the foliage and then put the gold edge to the outside. So you can do some fun things sometimes with just the extras on the punch out sheet. Okay, here is your die cut in half. Thank you, Mary Glasson. See that? And we cut that in half. Isn't that cool? And the topper here says, dream big, little bear. And oops, it actually goes this way. See, the little bear is over the stump. That's how you can find the bottom of that one. It's not obvious when you first look at it. Here's the panda bears. And the panda bears, see if you can see it here. See these corners? This is done with satin ribbon, wrapping satin ribbon around the corners in a sharp corner. So it kind of gives the appearance of being photo squares, but they're satin. Isn't that fun? I love this. The black and white play really, really well with the green background. And then those black photo corners, I think, really set this off. But we made our own photo corners by taking black ribbon and wrapping around it a sharp corner. This one is the kind of Native American looking one that's got the eagle. You can't, I'm explaining it because you can't necessarily see it from a distance. It's got the eagle soaring over the bear and then the wolf in the background. It says, always be yourself, always be yourself, stay wild. And look in the corners. Those corners are made out of your die. So I used it to make corners for this card. And this one, I did similar to what I did the giraffe again. This one is made, this background is made using pieces. This is dark blue. I know it comes out looking black on camera, but it looks really stunning in person. This is dark blue. And then I'm using a strip out of your die to make that beautiful accent down the side. Can you scroll up, please? Isn't that pretty? And of course I had to use a full one too. Here's the baby and mama bear on lime green, believe it or not. But how well does that work? Isn't that neat? So I cut this out of black shimmer paper, which, by the way, this die actually cut 2 sheets of shimmer paper at one time. That's what a good die it is. And we still have one more. So this is a 7-card set. Were they both 7 cards? Maybe they were both 7 cards. I think I said 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, this one has 6. Okay. Thursday nights has 6. Saturdays has 7. Out of one set, guys. One set. Using all of our pieces. Uh-oh, knocking stuff over. There we go. And this one says, birthday wishes just for you. Aren't they fun? Thank you, Roberta. Yeah, the strips do end up looking braided, don't they? Isn't that a versatile die? Can you believe it? You can use it whole, like this one. You can use it in a strip, like this one. You can use it in corners, like this one. And you can use it in half, like this one. 4 looks to one die. Now this set didn't seem as appropriate to the heart die. If you're wondering why I didn't give the heart die equal treatment, I didn't give the heart die equal treatment because these were really more masculine looking, or more, they don't necessarily have to be masculine. Again, they can go to anybody who adores nature, or anybody who really likes like Native American kinds of themes. This one is perfect for that. But it kept them very universal. You know, could be used for anything. Where the heart background, you know, we got to admit that's decidedly feminine. So lots and lots of uses for your dies, but you can see that when we show this video, those dies are going to sell out. So if you don't already have it and you want it, get it, because I can't get more of those dies. I bought them on clearance, which is how I could share such a great deal with you, and I will not be able to get more. So be sure if you want them, you get them right away, because next Saturday, if not before, those dies are going to be gone. That's it. That's what I have for you today. How's our time, honey? 1 hour, 37 minutes to do 5 cards and show and tell and Teddy Cam. So we did pretty well. I'm trying to hold these classes a little closer to the line, like you guys asked for in the survey. So I am working away, trying to make sure that I do that for you, and I hold up to all the as many of the suggestions as I can. Any questions, comments, or pearls of wisdom out there? Excellent. Yeah, if you've ordered them, they should be in next week. If you haven't already given the thumbs up, sure would appreciate it if you do that. And that will be it for today then. As Brenda said, I will see everybody on Wednesday for What's New Wednesday. We have some fun new things that Brittany's been listing, and I'll be looking forward to showing you what's left. Well, I have 2 choices left, Mary. I still have the frogs and the swans to do. There will be glitter involved with the swan. I just have to tell you that there will definitely be glitter involved with the swans. The swan and the stacked frogs again. And I have the cats. Love the cats. Love them. You know, I haven't done these necessarily, although I do have to admit I did the elk first because I love deer. But I haven't done these in order of like or dislike. I've just kind of pulled the next one in the batch. So I did do the whales and the elk first because I'm particularly fond of those 2. But I love every set in this animal kingdom. It's really stunning. So I guarantee, Mary, it will be one of those. And you know what? Next week is July. We'll be starting Christmas in July soon too. Can you believe it? Oh my gosh. So there we go. In fact, I know that after this, I have a Christmas kit coming up. It's going to be another one of those extreme values. You guys are going to love it. I have a Christmas kit coming up. It's not Hunkydory, but it will be a really good one. So with that, I'm going to say good night, Gracie. Vacation coming up in August, Mary.